It's a pleasure for me to present you all these my insights of my journey with RPA so far. And it reminds me of the day when I was myself a student at an engineering college like you all. So I thank everyone for joining me for this session. And let's quickly move towards the agenda of this session. So before we start, a little bit about myself. So currently I'm working as an RPA manager at Spectre Group IT Limited. I have over 10 years of experience in automation and IT service management. Um, as Shambhu said, I did my MBA from University of Melbourne and my engineering in IT from BIT Ranchi. So over 10 years of experience, I have handled complex enterprise solutions for clients like Telstra, Vodafone, AT&T, GlaxoSmithKline, Mazda, and many more. This is just a little bit about myself. This was my professional aspect. But apart from that, I am also an author on Zen. So these are a few of my ebooks which I have published in past few years. Love and Zenkai is a short story on Zen. Basically, unfortunately, this session is on robotic process automation and not on romantic process automation. Let's quickly go to RPA and why I am here. So as you can see, these are some of the credentials which I have in automation side. So I have done a lot of certification, at least I think dozens of certification in automation anywhere and UiPath. I am a master certified automation anywhere professional and advanced A2019 automation anywhere professional. Apart from this, I have done a lot of courses on UiPath as well, and I have done a lot of certification in business analysis, project management, implementation management in automation anywhere and UiPath both. So these are little bit boring things about me. Let's quickly go towards the objectives of this webinar and why we are here. Obviously, we are not here for time pass. We are here to achieve some objectives, and these are the things which you will be able to gain out of this seminar. So first of all, you will be able to understand the basics of RPA, what RPA is, why it is used, what are the benefits. You will be able to appreciate the power it gives you. You will also know how to build a career in RPA and how you can, in your professional aspect. And finally, we will have a little bit of fun. As you know, I am an author on Zen, so I will tell you a few stories. If not two, then at least one story on Zen also. So have fun. Don't take it as a boring lecture. Take it as a fun and take it as a thing which can lead you to another zenith in your career. So these are my 2 words with you. So what is this RPA and why people want to go for this RPA? Why it is so much in demand? Why it is so much popular? What kind of people go for it? And that's my next slide about be lazy, think crazy. It's amazing, isn't it? It might look as funny slide or something like that, but it's not funny. It's actually it is. So it is for people who have a lazy mindset. What is this lazy mindset? What I mean to say by lazy mindset? Do I mean to say that you should keep sleeping and not work at all? No, it's not like that. By lazy mindset, I am saying the same thing which Bill Gates used to say. What he used to say that he always chose a person whenever there was a hard job to do. Why? Because a lazy person will always find a short way and short and more efficient way to do the same thing as compared to any another person. So RP is about the same. Means it is for those people who have a lazy mindset. Means who do not want to do repetitive tasks again and again. In your real life, you might find, obviously, when you are in university, you learn various subjects. You have zillions of subjects to crack in probably in 4 years during engineering time. I think you might be reading around 48 or more than those many subjects. So in a college life, you have so many things to do. But when you go to an organization, you have many things which are very repetitive. You have limited number of works to do, and those things are very repetitive. Every day, suppose you come to office, you log into your machine, you get an email, you get data from your email, and you do process it. So if you see it, it's quite boring to do the same thing again and again. At least I become bored, even to hear that. If I have to do those things, I will go crazy. I never like those things. You give that kind of thing to a person with a lazy mindset, he will do something to automate it. Instead of doing that boring stuff again and again, he will like to do it in a more efficient way. Okay, let me show you something. Instead of just giving some talks, let me show you something. Just see yourself. Generally, when you go to a lecture, if you go to a lecture hall, what happens? In a lecture, first the teacher gives you a lot of boring lectures and then he takes you to the lab. My way of expressing things are totally different. So I am a professional, I am not a teacher. So, you can correlate a lot with me. So in this session, I will not give you a lecture first. I will first show you something so that, you can understand what this RPA is about. If you have noticed so far, I have not talked a single thing about RPA. I'm just talking the background of RPA, why RPA is so important, why people want to go for RPA. Let's quickly, go through some hands-on or some demo, and then probably you will be able to appreciate what this RPA is about. Then we will come to the theory and the boring part. But before that, let's see a hands-on or see a demo. So consider a scenario. Suppose a person goes to office in the morning, and in what his work is to create users. Now he can get lot many. For example, suppose that person went to say any company or any university or any place where there are a lot of many people, and from there he got data. What kind of data? So for example, suppose I am the owner of say IT bricks company, or I am a sales manager at our IT bricks company. It's just a means point of term by me. There is no such company like IT bricks, but suppose, for example, suppose I am a sales manager at IT Bricks and I am offering some solutions to my client. And obviously, to offer some solutions to the client, I need to have their details in my CRM. CRM is nothing but customer relationship management tool. So, for example, I went to some university or some place where I got a list of many clients, and I want to create their entry in my CRM. And now probably you are from an IT background, so hopefully CRM is not a new term for me. It's a very common thing. It contains the database of all the users. For example, suppose you have some problem with your SIM. You are not able to contact many people, or you want to go for a different plan. What do? You give a call to customer, they pick up your call, and they say, oh, sir, please give me your details and I will get back to you soon. What he is doing, he's taking your username, your details, and he's searching in the database, which is called a CRM system. In that CRM system, he can see all your details and he can understand what plan you are on, and then on the basis of that, he can advise you. But to have that database, first he need to have the list of all the users, right? So every day, he gets this sales manager. Every day he gets a lot of mails containing the list of users. He takes each user from his from that Excel sheet, from that email, and inputs into the CRM to create a new user. Now, how boring it can be. Let me show you something. Let me unshare this thing and share my screen with you. This is the CSV file. It contains the list of all the users. So for example, I got a mail that these are the users which are interested in my solution. Whatever solution I am providing, doesn't matter. Maybe I am providing a free SIM to them. Maybe I am providing any kind of service to them. So I got lot of details in that email containing all this user. And then I go to some CRM. I have a sample CRM for you. You see, there I click here to create a new user. And what I do, I copy the first name from here and put in the first name field. Then I copy this last name from here. I paste it here in the last name. Then I copy, the company name from here, and I again paste it in the company name field. In this way, I copy all the fields from here and I paste it in this CRM. And finally, I click on register and a new user is created. So obviously, if there are 2 or 3 such records, then it's okay. I can do it manually. But if there are hundreds of such records, then imagine doing manually. It will be a nightmare. It will be the most boring thing in the world. You would like to commit suicide rather than doing this thing. So let me show you something, what the bot does this, how the bot does this, and then probably you will be able to understand what RPA is. Let me give you a demo. So let me go to my bots, see which all bots I have. I've created this bot for you. All right, so I click on this run, and obviously this bot, what it will do, it will get the data from the CSV, each and every username, get the record from the CSV. For each username, it will find the first name, last name, the company name, the other fields. It will open the CRM and it will create a user for me automatically. See, I am not touching the system at all. The bot is doing this thing. You see how easily it is copying all the data from the CSV and putting in the CRM. I'm not doing anything. I'm not touching it at all. Everything is being done by the bot. And now it's done. It's done. Isn't it amazing? So let me come back to my slides again. So what did we see here? Yeah, so what this bot did, what it did that, the process which you do it manually, it did automatically everything for you. Instead of you doing it one by one, copying the record from the CSV, it automated the process. And yeah, yes, Ruchika. So data automation, very good. Data automatically copied from a CSV and entered into the CRM. So you see how boring and tedious this process was. Copying one record each and every time, and then you enter into the CRM. It can be, it looks very easy, but it's not so easy. For example, you can do a lot of mistakes. For example, you copied something from first name and you entered into the last name, or you copied something from the last name and by mistake you entered into the first name. There are many human prone errors which are possible here. So what this bot did, it automated that process for you. So this is the basic of RPA. Now, if you can understand this thing, what an RPA solution can do for you, then probably now we can come into the theoretical part. So what is RPA? All right. So this reminds me of a very interesting joke. So it happens so a person goes for an interview, and in the interview he was asked a very simple question: what is the meaning of RPA? And the candidate says that it means I didn't get the job. So what does he mean to say that, he didn't know the meaning of RPA, so that's why he was sure that he will not get the job. So the point here is, what is RPA? So RPA is just a jargon, it stands for robotic process automation. Now, obviously, it comprises of three things. Robotic, process, and automation. So can anyone tell me what a process is? Any idea, any vague idea? You do not need to be an academic exact definition, just a vague idea about what process is. How do you define a process?
Any set of activities which is transforming some input into desired output.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's great. So yeah, process is something which are defined set of steps and which gives output, which is a business output, which is a meaningful and sensible output. So what is RPA is robotic process automation is doing nothing, but it is automating your process through robot. What is this robot, or what is a bot? A bot is nothing, but it is just a kind of software, a piece of software, which can automate the process for you. Automate the process means that part of the process which you used to do it again and again, which you used to repetitively do again and again. So not all the processes are automatable. Obviously, that process should be being repeated again and again. Obviously, if it is being repeated and again, then only you can automate it. If every time there is some new logic, or it's a very fuzzy, or every time human intervention is needed, obviously it cannot be automated. But in most of the cases, when a process is very repetitive, it is rule based. Every time you have to follow the same set of rules. For example, in the example which I gave, every time you copy the first name, you save it into the first name field. You copy the last name, you set into the last name field. You copy the company name, you set it into the company name field in the CRM. So these are rule based thing. Every time you have to follow the same set of rules, and in this way you create a user in your CRM system. So whenever there is some such kind of thing which are rule based, which are very repetitive in nature, and which is not fuzzy, which means the rules should not be unclear. It's not that, first time, in first go, you copy the first name into the first name field, and second time you copy the first name into the company field. Every time if the rule is changed, then obviously it cannot be automated. But if the rule are fixed, clear, and defined, every time, most of the times you do the same things with very few exceptions, then probably it's a good process to be automated. So RP is nothing, it's a solution which can automate. That's all. Just looks like a jargon, but it's not too complicated. And after the example which you saw, in which data were getting copied from CSV and it was getting entered into CRM, probably you can make a lot more sense than now. It will not look like a complicated thing to you. I hope so, at least. All right. So if you do research, there are a lot of data available on Google. So, there are faster report, there are report from PwC, many other organizations, they publish their report. Currently, the market of RPA is around 7.7 billion, which will grow to almost 12 billions in 2023. And in 2027, it will be up to 27 billion. So it's a very nice market to pitch in if you want to build a career in terms of in the field of RPA. It's a very nice field to go on, and experience. Then you can earn up to 100,000 or 120,000. Even a fresher in the RPA side in Australia, at least I know about Australia here because I have been working in Australia since past 5 years or so. So here, at least if you have good certificates, if you have good knowledge of RPA, you can easily earn anything starting from 70,000 to 80,000 US, Australian dollars. Even in, I think India should be similar. But what I want to say that, it's a very hot topic. As I said, if you search in YouTube and you search for top 10 technologies to learn into 2020, you almost each and every video, it will talk about RPA. So RPA is something which you must learn in at least in 2020. All right. So what are the benefits of RPA? There are many benefits. There are not one, and I think I can keep telling you many benefits, but let's talk about the 6 potential benefits which are most important. And this is why people go for automating their process. So the most important thing is efficiency gain. What do you mean by efficiency gain? Efficiency gain means it helps you to do the same set of things, but it reduces the cost. For example, let me go again back to my example. What I did, I copied the data each and every time from the CSV and entered into the CRM. Now, suppose if you are doing that thing manually and suppose thousands of such files are coming, thousands of users are coming. In that case, what you have to do, you have to go for additional employee, you have to hire some more full-time employees. So RPA solution, it helps you in means grow your business without increasing the headcount. So if I have a bot to do everything, so if suppose in the demo I showed you an example with a CSV file having 3 records, but tomorrow if suppose I get a CSV file with say 100 records, in that case also I don't need to hire an additional person. If the bot can handle three records, it can also handle 100 records. So you can grow your business significantly without increasing the headcount. That is the most important example of efficiency gain. So, whenever you go to a business and if you are going for an RPA solution, obviously they will ask you what is the means benefit I will get out of RPA. And you can say, hey, if you automate your process using RPA, obviously you can see an efficiency gain. You do not have to hire additional people. So efficiency gain is the most important benefit of RPA. There are other important things, like for example, earlier if you were doing the same thing manually, it was a lot of your time. Now if the bot is doing that thing for you, then obviously you are freed from that boring and repetitive task, and you can spend the time in innovation. You can learn new things. You can train other people in your organization on RPA. You can do another means zillions of innovative things. So that's another area which you would like to. Another benefit is error reduction. So as I said, if something is done by a human being, obviously every time he cannot be as efficient. Many times he will have many problems in his life, or due to some human basic means limitation of human beings, he cannot do the same thing in the same manner every time. Many times he will commit mistakes, so there will be some variance in the process execution. Now if your bot does the same thing, obviously bot is not error prone, right? Bot will do the same thing in the same way every time, so it will reduce the error to almost nil. So a human being is prone to errors, this bot is not. So if you see from a bot perspective, a company perspective, errors are reduced to a lot extent. Again, there are other benefits, like for example, earlier, suppose there are 10 processes and there were 10 different employees for those 10 processes. Now suppose you have created 10 bots for those processes, then act as a single source of truth. So whenever something is not working, you have the same way of finding out the fault. You can check each and every bot, where is there any log. If the bot is failing, you can see where it is failing. If there is some error, you can check the error and fix it. So every time the process is same. That's another benefit of RPA. Again, process streamlining is another thing. Again, if you do something manually, obviously there are chances that the process will be stuck. For example, suppose you were doing one process manually, then suppose you went for lunch, then during that lunch time the process will be stuck. But if those things are being done by business, then obviously they will not be stuck. They will be streamlined. You can be assured that after the first step, the second will be executed. After the second, the third will be executed. So this reduces process bottleneck. Earlier, suppose you went on lunch, then it was a kind of bottleneck for the processes. Unless you are done with your lunch, the process cannot be continued. But now, after implementing this RPA solution, now you can find your time and what will take care of everything. Another important benefit of RPA is improvement of employee morale. So what happens? Just imagine you are in a company and you are doing the same set of data entry thing again and again, again and again and again and again. Then will you think that you are doing something great? No, you will have a very negative view, or what I can say, you will not have a very great employee morale. You will think that you are not doing something which is very significant and substantial. You can call it an inferiority complex or whatever. But once a bot is there to do things for you, obviously you can do many other things which are very innovative. You can read books, you can learn new technology, you can share your insights with other people. I did the same thing basically. So what happened, like many times I had to do many things which were very repetitive. So how I came to automation, there is a very interesting story behind it also. So what used to happen in my company, that time I was working at Amdocs and my client used to be Telstra. So what used to happen, they used to send us an Excel sheet, and using that Excel sheet, what I used to do, I used to create some queries for database, and I used to feed those queries into the database. It was a very monotonous task. So I had to access that Excel sheet. I had to see each and every record. For each and every record, I had to create and insert a statement, and I used to feed those record into the database. It was very monotonous and repetitive task. But luckily, I had expertise in Java, and that time I didn't know anything about RPA. So I used Java to create an automated process which used to access that Excel sheet. It used to create and insert a statement for the database, and it feed everything into the database. So when I did that thing, my client was so happy, because earlier, people used to do it manually, and it took a lot of time. It took at least 1 week to 2 weeks to create all the insert statement. But after I developed my automated solution, everything used to be done in seconds. So it improved the time by almost 90%, and the client was so happy that they sent so many awards and appreciation for me. That time we used to get a lot of bonus. Nowadays scenarios are very different. People have to save their budget, but where I'm coming to. So that was the beginning of my automation journey. And after that, I never stopped. I kept on learning new tools, new programming language. Even in RPA side, I learned a lot of tools. Like, there are 3 major tools which I will talk very shortly. So I learned a couple of them, and luckily I can, confidently handle any kind of automation projects which come in my way. So as I said, a lazy mindset is very important. A person who has a lazy mindset, he will try to find a smart way of doing the same thing, rather than he will keep doing the same data entry again and again throughout the day in, day out. So what I was saying, that, if you implement this RPA solution, it improves the employee morale and customer satisfaction as well. Again, you can reap the efficiency gain. Basically, you can measure something. So for example, before implementing RPA, how you used to implement a solution. You can calculate that thing, how much time it was taking. After that also, after you implement this RPA solution, how much time it is taking now. You can calculate that thing, and then you can immediately calculate how much efficiency gain you achieved. So you have some tangible things to measure your efficiency gain and your benefit. That is another important thing. So if you go to a business and if you say that, oh sir, I want to automate your process, they will obviously ask you what benefit I will get. And then you can say, oh, you see, earlier you used to this process in 10 days. Now when I automate your process, it will be done in 1 hour. So it is 1 hour divided by 10 days. And you can say, how much efficiency gain he achieved. So that was another gain in terms of RPA. Another thing is the work quality improvement. So before implementing RPA, as I showed you in my example, what used to happen, a person used to do the data entry thing manually day in, day out. Now the bots have come. Now the bots are there to take care of those repetitive tasks. Then the person can utilize that time in more, interesting things. So this improves the work quality overall. Whatever can be automated, just give it to bots. They will take care of you. Whatever you do, only those things which only human beings can do and no bot can do. And in this way, you become an indispensable a person for an organization. Long time ago, there was a lot of speculation. Even now, there are a lot of speculation that, bots will, replace human beings, but it is not like that. There are many works in an organization which bots cannot do. Bots can only work for the those processes which can be automated. The processes which cannot be automated, bots cannot do much help. So once you implement an RPA solution, obviously you will be doing the important thing, what only human beings can do. Anyway, related to machine learning, and it's yes. Thanks for this question. We will talk more about that machine learning part in our subsequent slides. Yeah, you are right. That's a very good question. So when you heard about RPA, that machine learning thing came into your mind. That's a very intelligent question. We'll talk about that thing also later on in our. So what I was saying here currently that before RPA was there in picture, a human being used to do those repetitive tasks again and again. Now, after the RPA has been implemented, human beings can focus on more important things, which like taking a strategic decision, how much you should invest in the market, what kind of a strategic plan you should take. These kind of important things, business functions you can do. So this improves the work quality of an organization. Not only means this is a kind of mindset. As I said that this is a lazy mindset. Doing something, if something can be automated, give a bot to do so. The same thing. Often use this thing for my personal use also. For example, I listen to lectures of some professors, and they are on some shared drive or some places which is very very unique. For example, say it's website.com/lecture1.mp3. I can download the data from there. But suppose there are 50 lectures, then if I check their URL, it is always the same. For example, it is website.com/lecture1.mp3, website.com/lecture2.mp3. So suppose I was giving you an example. I like to download the discourses or lectures of many professors from Harvard University, many universities. So, their URL is same. Like, for example, say amity.com/something/lecture1.mp3, amity.com/something/lecture2.mp3. So one way is to obviously go to those links and download all of them, manually. But let me show you, or probably we can discuss later also. So I created a bot which works in loop, and for 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 10 or whatever number of lectures are there, it every time it goes to that URL, it downloads the file for me and then downloads all the files for me, so that I don't have to do it manually 10 times. So that's an amazing thing which helps me for my personal development as well. So as I said, it's a kind of mindset. It's not that just that you go and automate a process. It's a mindset. You should have a lazy mindset. You should always think from the glass, or from the magnifying glass of automation, that can that be automated. If you have that glass with you, which very soon you will develop, then you can improve your work quality. You can improve the work quality of your colleagues, and it can help in your personal life, in your professional life, everywhere. So work quality improvement is another thing which is a great benefit of RPA. Employee efficiency, employee turnover, employee mental and physical health. Obviously, I was reading an article that there are some people in Bangladesh who are doing so much repetitive things that they have a lot of problem focusing, because it is so boring, and they don't have enough salary, so that they can't go for, they are not so well educated that they can go for a better job. So what they do, that they sometimes feel mentally drained. So those companies are organizing some meditation session for them, so that they can have a better mental health. So again, in this RP is again very helpful in that area. So whenever you see anything which is boring or repetitive, you just find out a smart or intelligent robotic way of doing the same thing, and that will obviously improve and boost your mental health. So that's another benefit of RPA. Customer experience improvement. For example, suppose this happened with me. So I was working for a client in Sydney, and I used to travel there every. So if I'm based in Melbourne, and my client was there in Sydney. So it was basically what I can say. It was a firm which used to provide loans to the people, and I had to automate their loans approval process. So every Monday I used to fly there, and Friday evening I had to come back to Melbourne. It was quite hectic, but that project was very interesting, and I always remember that project. So what they used to do, that they used to have many full-time employees who were data entry employees. They used to hire them, and they used to manually, evaluate each and every application and then approve their loans if that loan was means if that application was eligible for a loan. So it was a very tedious and boring process for the employees. I went there, I understood their process, and I automated that process for them. After that, they had an affiliation with a bank here called Commonwealth Bank. So that my client went to the Commonwealth Bank and he said, "Oh, you see, your other employees, your other clients, they can only process around 100 or 200 applications per week. But see, I have improvised my solution. Now I have implemented RPA. I can handle 100 applications in one day or say a few hours. So that improved their relationship with the bank also, and they were happy with us also. So not only they got a lot of monetary benefits, it also helped us to achieve a better relationship with our client. So what I want to say that if you automate a process, it also improves your customer experience. You can always go to the customer and you can say, I no one else can help you so much as I much can I can. Why? Because there are bots to help me. If you go to another person, he cannot handle more than 100 applications per week. But if you go with my solution, I can automate your process, and now you can handle more applications per day. So that's always interesting. A customer always finds such experience very, very fulfilling and satisfying. Again, long-term return customers. Obviously, when a customer knows that you can automate the process, he will like to come to you again and again because it is good for them, it is good for you. So in all the way, it's always a beneficial solution to go for an RPA. All right, regulatory compliance. This is something which is very, very, very important. So just understand this thing. Suppose you were earlier, you were copying something from the CSV and entering into the CRM. Nothing wrong. No problem with that. But suppose you make a simple mistake. Your details are wrong. For example, your address is wrong, and or your any other detail is wrong. It can have a huge business impact. For example, due to giving wrong details on the website, probably someone can sue your organization. He can put a lawsuit against you, and your company will have a very tough time in repaying those loans or those debts or those fines. So sometimes the quality becomes very, 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 very necessary, very utmost. You cannot compromise with quality in those, especially in the legal firms or in the banking firms. So for example, suppose your bank details, suppose your bank account has $5 million, and somehow you do some mistake and now there are only $5,000. See, means you can see what will happen. He will file a lawsuit against you, and not only you have to pay $4.5 million, but you have to pay other amount also to the customer. So in some scenario, the quality of the data, it becomes very, very, very important. And in that scenario, the bots are more reliable than human beings, because obviously human beings, no matter how carefully he does the work, it is prone to errors. You cannot reduce the error to zero. But one thing you can be sure with the bot, either it will do it or if it will not do it. If it doesn't do it, you can be sure that the bot has not done this. So you can see in the logs, you can see the error files generated, and then you can fix the problem. But sometimes when human being does the error, sometimes it is not even known that that kind of error is there, and you come to know only when someone has filed a complaint against you. So to when it comes to regulatory compliance, bots can be very important. All right. So tool set. Now, when I told you about RPA, obviously there are many tools to automate your process. Like for example, there are many like Pega system, many tools are there, but these three are most predominant in the market: Automation Anywhere, UiPath, and Blueprint. Obviously, each and every tool has their own plus point and minus point. Luckily, we are not having any vendor in our meeting, because whenever the vendors are there, they will say, "Oh, no, my tool is the best. There is no shortcoming in my tool. You see the tool of other people, they are so bad. My tool is the best." So we are I'm very thankful to Sambu and other people who didn't invited those vendors here. So there are these three tools which are predominant in the market: Automation Anywhere, UiPath, and Blueprint. If you are very technically very advanced, if you know a lot of you have done a lot of programming, especially if you have knowledge of .NET, then probably you can go with UI path. But if you are more, a business oriented person, if you don't like to do too much of coding, then probably you would like to go with automation anywhere, because it is easy to learn and it doesn't demands a lot of coding experience from you. As you say, probably you didn't notice the bot demo which I showed you in the beginning. You could have seen some flow chart. So if you understand a flow chart, how a process done, that much knowledge is enough for you. So you do not need to know a lot of coding. You do not need to have a lot of coding experience to learn automation anywhere. That's why I prefer automation even though I am UiPath certified as well. But if you are starting your career, I would suggest you to go with learning automation anywhere. And then probably you can focus towards UiPath and then you can learn Blueprint. But these three things you must know if you want to succeed in your RPA career. So in real life scenario, 2 minus 2 is not equal to 0. Sometimes it can be 4, sometimes it can be 5. Obviously, in academic way, in a bookish answer, you will always file 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. But just see a real life scenario. For example, suppose earlier, long time ago, how people used to commute. They used to walk from one place to another. Even if it was a journey of hundreds of kilometers, people used to walk. They used to go to their destination by walking. To overcome this, it used to take a lot of time. To overcome that problem, they invented, bikes and motorcycles and, motor vehicles. Now you have motor vehicles, but now it has created another problem. One problem was solved, but now it has created another problem of pollution. So in real life, always, the solutions are not so easy. So if there is one problem and if you fix it, it may be possible that now it can, generate 2 or 3 or 5 more problems. Same is the issue with RPA also. So, if you go and see what is going in the market, now you can see some advanced trends in the market, AI plus machine learning. So what people have come to know, not AI plus machine learning, RPA plus machine learning plus artificial intelligence. So now what people have realized that, sometimes the processes are not so straightforward that you can automate it. You have to learn a lot of things from the people's experience. For example, just see an example. So you go to YouTube, you open a video, you watch your video, whatever video you like to watch. After some time, it gives you suggestions, right? It gives you suggestion that what other video you should watch. How it can be done from an automation perspective, you can say, okay, every time I will sort. And so suppose I sort 100 suggestions to each of my customer. 10 times I will show videos related to some education. Sometimes I can show you 20% of time I can show you some video related to movies. 30% of time I can show you some video related to sports, and 40% of times I can show you some videos related to shopping. But just think about this. Suppose there is a student. So, what happens sometimes, the same set of rules cannot be applied again and again. For example, suppose if someone is a student and if you say show him 40 advertisements of say sports or 40 advertisement of expensive cars, probably it's of no use. He will not see. He is not going to buy those cars. It's of no use for him. Similarly, suppose if someone is a millionaire and if you go and show him, some advertisement related to education or books, probably he will not be interested in those. So sometimes it happens that you have to see what kind of video a person is browsing, and based on each browsing history, you have to give some suggestions to him. So this is the idea of machine learning. So robotic process automation can automate the process only when the process is the rules are same each and every time. But when the rules are not same each and every time, then obviously you have to go for some more sophisticated solutions like machine learning, artificial intelligence. So nowadays people are doing, some companies like Wipro or Infosys, they are doing some further research in amalgamating RPA with machine learning or amalgamating RPA with artificial intelligence. So these are the advanced trends. So some few minutes ago, someone asked me a question about machine learning. Machine learning is not the same as RPA. RPA is useful when you have to do the same process again and again. The rules are same throughout the process. In case of machine learning is useful when the rules are not same. So for example, for each and every user, you have to find different set of rules. Each and every user has a different browsing history, and based on that browsing history, you would like to give him a different suggestion. So in that case, you would like to merge RPA with machine learning techniques. Hopefully I answered your question. All right, what next? So I'm sure you would like to build a career in RPA. So how you can learn RPA? Obviously, each and every product has their own university. So if you go to say Automation Anywhere website or UiPath website or Blueprint website, they have their own university. They have free training materials, and based on that, you can go for some certifications. So all of them provide certificates also. But I have seen that no matter how good their training materials are, it is very difficult to crack the certification exam. And certificates are very useful, at least in the market. If you show that you are US certified, or if you are Automation Anywhere certified, you can get a job very quickly. Look, a certificate doesn't necessarily mean that you are very skilled in that particular area. But obviously, if a company has to choose between two candidates, one of them is an RPA certified candidate, and another candidate is not certified, then obviously the company would like to choose the certified candidate. So that's why certification is very important. So I would suggest you to go through their portals and do. Many of them are offering some few courses, and Automation Anywhere is also giving you free certification. What about in terms with future rates? Yeah, so we talked a lot about the market trends also. As I said, in 2027, there will be almost 27 billion worth of market. So get yourself certified, that's more important. If you want to get some training programs, obviously I'm leading Spectre Learning. So here I'm the director of Spectre Learning program. We have partnership with Micro Focus and Automation Anywhere, and we provide training courses as well. So I need to ask that how to start the career. First thing is that you can go to their portals. Yeah, Automation Anywhere has their own university portal. You can type Automation Anywhere training, or you can type UiPath training. They have their own portal.
There is a question from Karan Malhotra, who is asking, so sir, what is the basic difference between Autobot and regular Metriate bots?
So regular Metriate bots are, they are something which are mechanical devices. This bot is not a mechanical device; it's a software component. That's the difference between the RPA-based bot and the mechanical bot.
We have another question for you from one of our faculty colleague, who is asking, how can a student start this journey for robotic process automation?
So as I said, first you need to do the learning. You can do from their portals, or as I said, we have a Spectre Learning. From there, you can go for many courses, and then finally you can get certified, and then you can build your career. That's the standard pathway. So I have given the link for our Spectre Learning portal. You can also go to there, and you can register for the courses. You can register for the courses on the respective websites also. Like for example, Automation Anywhere has their own website. UiPath has their own website. Blueprint has their own university. You can register for courses there also. But as I said, those courses are not sufficient for certification. For certification, you should go for more advanced training, which we can provide. You can always reach out to me.